So, guys, you tell us what the myths are that you know about Raw.
That there's funding behind us from a local Emirati. I think that's actually a good thing, though, because we want to be a local business. We're both originally New Zealanders, but we met here in the UAE. We wanted to run the business as owner-operators, and we consider ourselves an Emirati business. So to be thought of as having an Emirati founder behind us, that's fine. I'm good with it.
Let's be honest. Cheap, watered-down drinks aren't cutting it anymore. Raw Beverage Trading partners with venues that want to win. We develop bold, consistent, damn good products made with real ingredients because your customers can taste the difference. Matcha, we're on it. Cold brew, best in class. We're not here to chase pennies. We're here to build brands, loyalty, and bottom line profits. Stop letting cost controllers call the shots. Raw is where margin meets meaning. If you're looking for a partner, not just a supplier, contact sales@rawcoffee.ae or check the show notes for details. Welcome to the Map Forward Middle East podcast, friends. This is our second series in our new direction for Map Forward Middle East, and I am proud and privileged to welcome Kim Thompson and Matt Toogood from Raw Coffee Company onto the podcast. You've both been on the podcast before, but this is the first time on the new podcast. So welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us.
It's my pleasure. It really is an honor for me because you guys are, from everything that I've discovered since I've been living in the region and since I've been visiting in the region, you guys are the OGs. You are the first company that didn't just try, not old guys, the original gangsters.
That's what she means.
But you guys you set the tone for what it means to build a business that is sustainable in the region. And you have weathered a lot, and I'm proud that I got to hear some of those stories over the many coffees that we've had and the dinners that we've had. And I'm really excited that in this series, our theme is the specialty coffee shop that started it all in the Middle East. And in this series, we're going to give people an insight into all of the things that they may or may not know about Raw in the voice of the people who have built it and are running it. So for those who, and I'm sure that there's no one, but just in case, for those who don't know about Raw, could you give us a wee little introduction to what Raw is, Kim?
We're nearly 18 years old. I know we look a lot older, but we founded Raw in 2007. And the idea at the very beginning was to import green beans, roast them and supply them to B2C. And I think it was 2 and something years into it, met Matt. And that's a really long story too. It was lots of fun. And he joined and we realized that B2B was a little bit more interesting than
we didn't get a choice.
No, yeah.
We just the B2B market was desperate for coffee.
I think it was naivety and just right timing. If we look back on everything, but it wasn't easy, and we made lots of mistakes, and we met lots of very cool people in those early years. If we travelled to trade shows to learn about things. And we were lucky from the beginning that we positioned ourselves in that niche quality market, because I think that was a good play. But yeah, 2007, just to fill a gap in the market for freshly roasted coffee that was done locally.
And it was incredibly expensive coming from New Zealand. I remember the first time I bought a bag of coffee and I looked at the price of it and went, wow, that's twice as expensive as what I'm paying for a similar quality coffee out of Auckland. And yet,
wow.
When we actually got into the business, the business wasn't going to be able to be viable at those prices. So we even had to put
it had to be higher.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's purely down to the fact that people don't realize how expensive it is to do business in this town. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's expensive to do business everywhere, but it is extra expensive. People think, oh, it's a tax haven and, because we don't pay tax, doing business here is really cheap. Things couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, whether you're listening to this as someone who lives in the region or as someone who is thinking to do business in this region, that is a myth. That doing business here is cheap is an absolute lie. For anyone who is going to convince you that that's the way that you should do things, I would invite you to consider listening to the entirety of this series. So in this episode, folks, we're gonna dig into the myths around Raw. This I am very excited about. You two have been there are many stories out there in the world about what Raw is and what role Matt plays, and are you two married, and who owns the business and who doesn't own the business. So
Or who invested in the business?
Who invested in the business?
Yeah.
Is there an Emirati behind it? Blah, 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 blah. Right? And that's important because the more I ask questions about different businesses in this region, the more lies that I notice, or let's say the more veils I see and facades that are up there. So I think it tells a lot that when, for those listening, when I said to Matt and Kim, what do you guys want to talk about? They're like, let's talk about all the myths. Let's give everybody the open everything about what the myths are and what Raw is and what it isn't. So, guys, you tell us what the myths are that you know about Raw.
That there's funding behind us from a local Emirati. I think that's actually a good thing, though, because we want to be a local business. We're both originally New Zealanders, but we met here in the UAE. We wanted to run the business as owner-operators, and we consider ourselves an Emirati business. So to be thought of as having an Emirati founder behind us, that's fine. I'm good with that. That's fine.
There's no other Raw anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
It was started by Kim in 2007. To be really honest, it was a little bit of a false start the first time. So when I met Kim, it was already version 2 of Raw.
The first roastery I built was purchased by Coffee Planet because at that stage they were bringing coffee in from Union Roasters in London, and they had entered the market here as Coffee Planet with investment, and they bought my roastery when we were needing to sell because we'd already run out of money because we had huge issues with Propack when we bought our roaster. So it was at the time that the manufacturing business that we'd bought the roastery from had the father had died, the siblings were fighting over the direction of the business, so their assets were held. I had to go up and file a case with a German lawyer and try and get the roaster released. All the delays and compliance, I think it took 3 months to try and get the certificate that showed that there was no emission that was dangerous for the environment. And I got that one day because I cried and at the municipality because I just was going around in circles for months. And so slowly all these things happen and we ate up a year of doing nothing. And that's when we regrouped. We sold the first roastery, we moved, we lost the consultant who we'd employed, had never taught us to roast, so we had to learn ourselves. We rebuilt a smaller facility in the Dubai Garden Centre, and we just started from the beginning again. And that's when I met Matt. So, but it's actually all really good stuff because it made you consolidate, think about what was important. We realized at that stage we were not going to do trade shows. We wanted to go to origin and form relationships with the producers. So I think that kind of made us who we were. But yeah, the start was very rocky.
And look, it's kind of lucky that we can talk about this 14 years later. But Raw was effectively insolvent for the first 3 years that we were working together. You know, we were living quite literally beanbag to beanbag. I remember one night at the garden centre, we were working out of a 40-foot container that had been converted into a store, and we had a little desk in it. And I remember the security guard and I had to offload 3 pallets of coffee, and I had to carry them 100 meters on my back at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Because we had got down, we had 11 kilos of coffee left. And the next day, I had no idea what we were going to roast. And we were literally living back.
And we started to supply coffee. So our first commercial customer was Gordon Ramsay's restaurant. So we were getting nice
No
clients.
way.
And everyone else, he had a huge reputation down here then. And his sommelier, I remember Luca, he cared about coffee. A lot of people didn't see even respect coffee as a product at that stage. So if you got someone like that who liked what you were doing, other people were going to start following. So yeah, it was cash flow as well as logistics. And yeah, the mistakes we made at the beginning were immense.
Isn't it fascinating that most coffee companies that open today still make those same mistakes?
Probably, yeah.
We, as an industry, we continue to reinvent the wheel, which is a lot of, I think, what holds us back as an industry. We're not learning from each other's mistakes. It's a big part of why this podcast exists, so that we can open that up and let people know that, hey, one, you're not alone. You're not the only one who's tried to figure this out and struggled. And number two, we should be able to do this better as our industry ages. And yet, after almost 18 years, with all the clients that I work with, I'll tell you the same thing. They all experience the same thing that you guys have experienced 18 years ago.
Yeah, but if you think about it, though, if you're not part of a big multinational or a franchise, everyone's competing for the same customers, the same clients.
100%.
So, I think we know, because we see a lot of CVs coming across our desks at the moment, and equipment that's, coming up for sale when businesses are closing, that, people are trying to fake it until they make it, and they keep going until they have to close their doors. So, it's pretty crazy at the moment.
And that happens all over the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in this region, it's even worse. People run away from their businesses and leave the staff on their own. I mean, that happens all the time. You've got to realize that the UAE is a bunch of emirates, and each emirate actually has a different DNA. So Dubai, all you have to do is go over the creek and enter into Sharjah, and you're in a completely different country as effect in the way that people work. And, you go further afield into some of the other emirates, and it's like you're taking a time capsule and going back 20 years. So, we choose to live here because we love living here. But there is a lot of things that are not what you would expect when you actually pull back the curtains. Especially Dubai has done an amazing evolution. But you've got to realize you don't grow a city the way that this has grown without, having some problems. And there definitely are problems. The great thing is that the leaders of the city actually are trying to make it better. They're always trying to progress. And it's not all about money all the time. But in order to build something like that, there's a cost. And what people don't realize is that the cost is directly levied on the businesses that are here. And it's not indirect. This is the biggest user pays experiment in the world.
Mohammed Mir'i said it from Cypher Coffee, said it on our global podcast once. He said, look, sure, we don't pay tax, but I wish that we paid tax compared to the fees that we have to pay to do business here, because at least I'm going to get taxed after I've earned the money. Here, I've got to pay before I've earned the money. I'm paying everything up front before we do business. And he's got a massive point there. I mean, there's so many myths about doing business in this region, and people have I get asked so many times, Lee, you don't seem like a blingy person. Like, why do you live in Dubai? I'm like, come on now. Like, I'm obsessed with the desert. That's the reason I live in Dubai. And you can't get a more beautiful desert than the one that's here, and the sunsets. But it's also an amazing city to live in if you want to experience so much diversity.
Yep.
If we just talk about coffee, there is so much different coffee here and different ways of experiencing coffee here. It's incredible. Hospitality, food in general. But I want to go back to the myths that we were talking about.
Okay.
Because this is going to end up like one of our dinners, because, you know, we start in one place and we end up in 3 different dimensions away. So the first myth was that money's backing you. And your response was, you're an Emirati business.
Yes,
but you are not backed.
Yeah.
Self-funded.
No investment.
For clarity, for anyone that's checking. Another myth, that you two are married.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the answer.
He's really lucky because he's got 2 wives. He's got his real wife and he's got a work wife.
Yeah. Don't want that.
Well, I was married to an Emirates pilot who we used to joke that he'd come to work and I'd tell him what to do, and my husband would go to work and his wife would tell him what to do because she was the traffic controller. So Tess is an air traffic controller. Yeah.
That's Matt's wife.
That's
myth number 2. You guys are not married officially, but at work you are married. What are some other myths that you guys know about?
We had a good one recently that we don't do business with local Emirati-owned cafes and businesses, which we hear a lot of really good goss from our sales team because they're out and about and they hear stories that I guess has come from other salespeople out in the community, from other, you know, roasting businesses. But I thought that was a good one, that we didn't deal with local Arabic-owned businesses. I love that one. That was good.
Yeah, because we do.
Yeah.
Do more business with that.
And you guys introduced me to people who are Emiratis. Shout out to Karam. Like I met those guys because of you guys. So it's very strange that people have these ideas about you. What were you going to say, Matt?
That we don't do specialty coffee.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Well, that's a cute one.
Yes, yeah, they're not specialty.
And that's cute. This is where we should probably shout out Felipe. He's been mentioned in every series so far. Felipe, everyone knows Felipe. He is one of the best specialty coffee producers in Brazil, and your first Brazilian coffee. Everyone knows he does specialty coffee. And the first Brazilian supplier.
Personally, the only way we could almost do that is to open the kimono and show what we pay per kilo of green bean versus what some of the other businesses are paying for their green bean. And I mean, that's a really good, very black and white measurement that we could use just as a start, because I think it's humorous.
Yeah. So we don't chase COEs.
No.
It's not
Cup of excellence for those who don't.
We buy coffees that we like to drink and we think that our customers would like to drink. But, you know, one of the things that we learn pretty quickly is you can alienate your customer by taking them on a journey before they're ready to take that journey. So, you know, yes, we were drinking geishas 10 years ago. And, you know, now it's got to be a pretty special coffee. I don't want a cup of perfume every time I'm drinking a coffee. I don't need my coffee to have a 3,000 hour anaerobic fermentation. It's not what my customers want. You know, I have this firm belief that the first cup of coffee in the morning, when someone drinks it, they shouldn't notice it. They shouldn't notice if it's really, really amazing.
Well, I drink tea first thing in the morning.
Yeah, you and I
need
both.
to eat food before I.
I'm a yerba mate gal.
Yeah.
I'm the worst person for my team, because the first coffee I have, I come in and I don't talk to anybody and I stand there and I point at a grinder, right? And the guys have got to have it ready.
Sounds so like you, Matt.
But it's true. And we have 7 grinders. So they've got to dial on 7 coffees. But what it does is it starts a conversation every morning. Okay, like this morning I had a Guji, and I don't normally have a Guji first thing in the morning. I'm more of a Latin American coffee, sort of give me chocolate in the morning. And, this morning's coffee, we ended up having a conversation on, okay, how could we present that? How do we want to present this coffee today? And it's, and that's the wonderful thing about coffee is that you can go out and you can spend 1,000 dirhams a kilo on a coffee, but you know what? At the farm gate, you can also go and spend $12 a kilo on a coffee, and you can actually get something that's quite magical if you know how to manipulate that and you know how to work that coffee. So we do have some special coffees. We think all our coffees are quite special. But
I have drunk them and I can tell you as a customer of Raw who goes in and sits there and drinks the Gujis and drinks you guys had was it a recent honey that you had that I kept? No, it was the pink bourbon.
Pink bourbon, wow.
This pink bourbon was a little bit extra special. Like the coffee is just, and one other thing is every time I go in and I ask the staff, like, what should I have? They know how to answer that question.
Yeah.
Which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Which leads me to another myth.
There's also got to be an evolution, hey, because as a business, you can't stay static. So it's been a long time, nearly 18 years. So I think the way we drink coffee has changed over even the last few years, and that we're drinking a lot more, brewed coffee using the who for. There's got to be an evolution too. So I think trying to stay customer centric and guess what our customers are wanting to have, whether that's the guys coming to the cafe or the business operators that we're supplying bags of coffee to, it's got to keep growing and changing. So that's kind of cool.
Well, and that whole process is like taking your staff on that journey with you as well, right?
Yep.
Since COVID, we've had a complete change of the demographic of the customer.
Really?
Right? We have a lot more people from the Levant now in Dubai who are here to live and work, and they have a completely different palate.
Which is probably really good for the roastery that's just opening up across the road from us. There's one huge roastery that's opening up just across the road from us, and I believe it's a big Turkish roastery. It's fine. It's full because there's so many in the area anyway. But the customers' demographic has completely changed,
and their palate is
Well, I think, Kim, you might have something to do with that, to be honest, like not just from the fact that, yes, COVID, blah, 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 but free Palestine. You've been very vocal about Palestine, and I think that has sent up a beacon that has told people that they have a safe place to come and be open and honest about that perspective.
I think that wasn't actually something that we did to try and grow our customer base. That was just because we had the reach to have an impact on the followers that were following our business. And then in a way, without intending that to happen, honestly, that's grown our community. So we
100%.
Maybe that has added to the change in demographic of people because they like our ethos. So it's a community that they want to spend money with us.
I wasn't talking about our cafe.
Yeah.
Our cafe is the biggest melting pot of nationalities.
But we were told not to do it, actually. We were told by other business owners to be very careful because it might not be a clever move. But it was, you know what? We're going to do it anyway, and let's just see what happens.
That's where our value alignment, we don't have a problem with values alignment.
We don't have an investor that can stop us from doing whatever we want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's something really nice about that, isn't there? If we had an investor or we had, actually, there's something that I want to say at this moment. Raw are the first sponsors of the Map It Forward Middle East podcast. And I'm very, very proud of that. And the conversation that I had with you guys about that, there was never any like gatekeeping of you can't have these guests, you can't say this on the podcast, there was never any of that. And values alignment is massively important to Map It Forward and to you guys.
So
And
is
the fact
honesty
that we
and
both value,
transparency. Yeah.
yeah. And that's what we strive for here on the podcast. But it was just really, first of all, thanks for sponsoring the podcast. It's an honor for me to be able to amplify your business through this podcast, but it speaks volumes, I guess, for everybody that does consume this podcast, who we want to partner with. We want to partner with people who are values driven the same way that we are. The values don't have to align. The fact that you're a values driven business, you may have different values to us. You may value that you want to keep quiet about political statements, but you want to be very driven by making sure your staff are taken care of and producers are taken care of. They're sort of the same, but they're not exactly the same. And for us, partnering with Raw was just a no-brainer. And again, they didn't approach us, I approached them, and it was just really easy. So thank you guys. And that sets us up perfectly for the next episode, which is about relationships within our industry. So join us for the second episode of this awesome series. Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day. This episode is part of a 5-part series produced by Map It Forward. Check the full playlist and guest details in the show notes, as well as how you can support our work in the coffee industry. Become a premium YouTube subscriber, explore our Patreon and any brands we've partnered with to bring you this podcast. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really does help us grow our audience.